How y'all doing? I'd like to thank y'all for clicking on this video, and liking, commenting, subscribing. We appreciate all you subscribers. Spread the word, and we can be a help to somebody. This morning we've got us a 2004 Mazda B3000, aka Ford Ranger, with a 3.0 liter V6 in it. It's got a water leak. It's probably going to be the water pump. 2004 3.0 Mazda B3000. As you can see, B3000, aka Ford Ranger. We've got a water pump leakage here this morning. She's down in there somewhere behind all this stuff, so that's what we're working on. We're gonna see if we can get her fixed up this morning. Alright guys, we got the fan shroud off. We screwed the fan clutch off of these threads here, and we took the serpentine belt off obviously, and we've got the water pump pulley off. My concern is this water pump, normally when they go to the bad, they either leak out of this hole, they leak out of a hole down here on the back side, or they leak out this front seal. I'm not seeing anything here. All the water looks like it's leaking down on the back side, coming from the plate that these wonderful Ford engineers have decided needs to go behind the water pump, between the block and the water pump. So it looks like we're probably gonna have to tear the whole front timing cover off, fix our problem, and hopefully it's not a intake gasket or anything, but I'll keep y'all posted. Alright guys, 2.4 years later, we've got the power steering bracket out of the way that the air conditioner pump set on, and as you can see, this bracket here that goes between the block and the water pump, I suspect this is where it's leaking at, which it goes, you have to take the whole front timing cover off, you got to take pan bolts out, you got to separate it from the block. I mean, it's bad is what I'm trying to say. I'm certain that if I put a water pump on it, it's gonna have the same problem. Probably gonna put a thermostat on it too. I hope it's not the intake gasket, because this intake gasket looks like it will be nasty. The valve cover bolts go down through the intake instead of into the head like a normal engine should be. I'll update y'all when we get a little bit further along. Here she is, guys. I left all the bolts in it because every bolt is different. Every bolt's a different length. Every bolt's got a different stud on it. It's just crazy how Ford engineers do like they do. I mean, there's long, there's short, 8 millimeters, there's long, there's short, 13 millimeters, there's 13 millimeters with studs on the back, there's 13 millimeters with little bitty studs on the back. It's just, it's unreal how this water pump goes on. And as you can see down in here, this is where the water pump was at. This is where your bottom radiator hose and all comes in. But back here is where it's leaking at. So we're going to take all this off yet. And that means that the harmonic balancer's got to come off. We got to get this sensor off. There's pan bolts up underneath there. Yeah. Not fun. Once you get your pulley off down here, it took 10.2 million years to get off because Ford engineers like to put Loctite on all these bolts, and this bolt here was so tight that I had to put a pull bar on it and stick it on the ground and bump the truck over to get it broke loose. So it's just horrible, just like everything else I've touched on this truck this morning. You need one of these chicken foot looking tools here that you put up here, and it puts pressure on the crank and pulls your thing off. So let's see how that works. Alright guys, I went on and pulled the radiator out of the way because I was so close to this. My puller was so long that I didn't want to punch a hole in the radiator, so we took it out and we gained. We were this close to the radiator, now we got all this room here. It was only 2 bolts. I already had all the hoses unhooked, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And now all I'm doing is turning down on this chicken foot tool. And as you can notice, if you look at this gap here, what it's doing is pushing on the crankshaft and it's pulling the harmonic balancer right off. And we have to do this in order to get that timing cover off. Thank you, Ford engineers. Thank you. I love you guys. If you work for Ford Motor Company, I love you. Just think about us when you're designing these things. Please. There it is. See how that works? Pushed right against the crankshaft, snugged it right off. Now we're down to where we need to be. Still stinks though. Alright, now we've got pan bolt here, pan bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt here. And I'm not sure what else is going to come off, but we'll see. All these bolts that hold the water pump on also hold this on. So if you just change the water pump without changing this gasket, you run the risk of breaking the seal back here. And that may have been what happened years ago on this truck. I'm not sure, but we're going to do it all today. Yeah, I'm going to keep right on complaining about it too. Look at that. Let's put a timing chain in it while we're here. This is that plate that those are your 2 pan bolts there. That's where your pan gasket rides. Right around there. It's your front seal. That thing's hard. We're probably gonna put one of them in there. We got to clean this face of this up. We got to clean this faces up. You can see this is where it was leaking at. Right here. This side seemed to be sealed up pretty good. You don't see any leakage out there. This side over here you can see where that antifreeze was just leaking out. Around there it's coming out, running down the side, dripping right off the bottom of the pan. The water pump, as you can see, was dry. We're gonna put a water pump on it. We're gonna put all these new gaskets on it. And while we're in it, I think we're gonna put a timing chain on it, because as you can see, timing chain it's got 131,000 on it. It'd be smart to just go on and put one of these on it while we're in here. We got a new timing chain here. If you notice, you've got a dimple right here in between two teeth, and on the bottom where the keyway's at, you've got a dimple on the tooth. Well, when you put it on the truck, you've got to line up these two dots like this right here. The old one had a notch. This is the old one, had a notch and had a dimple. So we're just gonna slide it up on there. All right. Make sure this is straight up and down. Make this is straight down. And when you line these up, she, for the most part, falls right in place. You see, that's in line with that. Just like that. Piece of cake. Alright guys, we've got the new water pump in place, as y'all just saw. Yeah, there's nothing been fun about this. So I'm fixing to put all these brackets back in here. So y'all hang out and watch me put these brackets back in. Here we go. Let's see what happens. You guessed it. This is where the seal rides. I want to make sure that that seal rides on there. Here we go. pull right on up. I'm always scared to put the crank sensor on until after I put the harmonic balancer on there. Crank sensor. We've got the water pump back in place. We've got the crank pulley back in place. We've got all the lines back on. We got the stupid power steering slash AC bracket back on. Yep, going back together. It's going a little bit better together than she did coming apart. I don't know if I mentioned this, tearing this apart. This is left-hand thread. Alright, it's like this, guys. Temperature's coming up. I don't see any leaks. I've been up underneath the truck. Everything looks good. Everything's running. Nothing making any crazy noise. You see all the new stuff down in there that we installed. Everything's appears to be doing good. So with that being said, thank y'all. Until next time, remember, if it's giving trouble, she's probably going to the bad. Thank you, Ford engineers. Thank you. I love you guys.